like, remember I said pneumonia earlier, bilateral weakness, maybe multiple sclerosis, they have bilateral weakness. They have enough strength, I think they can stand, but I feel like I need to block both of their legs. So this time what I'm going to do is have them scoot forward in the chair. And then they're going to need to have a wide enough stance where my feet can be outside and my knees can come inside a little bit. Some of you guys on shorter girls or whatever, just height differentials, this is going to feel super awkward. Doing a one leg block is so much better and easier than trying to block both legs. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like you're doing it wrong. Get it over fast. You know, it's just one of those things. You're going to have to practice and find something that works for you where your feet are outside and your knees are inside, because, go ahead and stand up for me. If you're not blocking like this, go ahead and bend your knees. Like I'm blocking her. I can keep her legs from falling in this position. If I'm here, or I only have one block, she could fall down if that leg gave out from underneath of her, all right? That's why you have to cross. Even when you're doing the one-legged block, you have to have that leg, your foot on the outside, knee on the inside, so that if their knee buckles, your leg is blocking it. That's why that's so important. So that's key. That's another like safety issue. You have to have that correct knee block.
Why would you block both knees or both legs?
Weakness on both sides. Like you can't trust that anybody's going to be able to hold it all up by themselves. Tree? So, you know, it's better to not have them hold on to you, but I'm not going to, like in the clinic, I'll tell people like, put your hands on my shoulders, like we'll pretend like we're dancing, you know, something that they feel comfortable, because, you know, you're really close to them. And so it can be awkward, but really they can just have their hands at their sides is fine. Once they push up, they can have their hands at their sides. Okay, so go ahead, let's sit down, we'll start from
question, Shawana?
I did. I can't see really well from over here. So essentially with your block, your knees are kind
You
of
can, just come around.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that?
Yeah. You're
Is
just
this
here.
what? Yeah.
Your knees
Go ahead and
are-
stand up. Good, and let's go ahead and rotate around.
Really
Okay.
relax
It's like the duck walk. All right, do you feel it bad against your legs?
No.
No?
Yes.
Okay, reach back for the bed, sit.
Okay.
Good.
That makes sense.
All right, so it does. You feel a little unstable, but remember, this isn't somebody who can't bear weight, who has no balance, or you wouldn't be doing this transfer. So, you know, they have some capability. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it.
So when do you block the good leg, and then when do you block the bad leg again?
You block the good leg when you haven't worked with them before, and you haven't worked with them before. You test their strength. They have one affected side that's like weak, one side that's strong. You're going to block the strong side to make sure they can bear weight. If your practical scenario said you've been blocking the strong side, how would you progress? Then you're going to block the affected side and not the unaffected side. And that's what you would say. Like, well, if I've been, I know they can bear weight, well, now I'm going to block the affected side. Because that's kind of a progression, remember? Yeah.
So it's taking that information. Don't get brain lock on this. I think what Ms. Watson is illustrating with all of these transfers, it's not the standing pivot and the standing assisted pivot and all these things that you have to remember. It's the same thing. It's just how you're blocking them, right? It's even when you're doing assisted, it's one, you're blocking one, but it's still in the same manner, right? So don't get too confused about that. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that?
And you see on your criteria sheet, it says standing, pivot, transfer. All of these are standing pivot transfers. It's just different blocks, okay? Your book calls the one-legged block the standing assisted pivot, and then the two-legged block the standing dependent transfer. But again, like when you get to dependent, then I feel like students get confused and they're like, oh, they can't do anything. Like, what am I, that's not it. So think of different blocks. They're all standing pivot transfers, okay? Don't get too caught up in the assisted or dependent names. You're going to tell us what you would block. You can use the name, that's fine, but if it's confusing to you and that word dependent is often becomes a hiccup for people, it's okay. Just tell us what you would block. That's really the key point. You don't need to know the name. Who knows what people call it? Like, that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Are we going to learn anything about people who can't, like, hold themselves up at all?
Yes.
Yes. It's coming.
That probably helps since I have a grandfather with PSP, and I pretty much want to put
My grandfather had PSP. Yeah. No, we're gonna get to those transfers next. But for right now, let's go ahead and let's practice those standing pivot transfers, those 3 different blocks that we talked about. Make sure you're talking about scenarios, thinking through those alternative strength testing for certain diagnoses.
Consider switching partners also, so you're working with someone who's a little different.